So, ladies and gentlemen, is he the lost, handsome Hollywood star of the 1960s, 70s, and 80s? Well, for a lot of people, he is. He lives on in game show fame on Password Plus, where he shared a stage with, I think, Betty White. It's, of course, the great John Philip Law. Now, following a breakthrough role as a Russian sailor in The Russians Are Coming, 68, 66, Law became best known for his roles as gunfighter Bill Mesita in the spaghetti western Death Rides a Horse with Lee Van Cleef, the blind angel Pigar in the science fiction film Barbarella with Jane Fonda, the title character in the action film Danger Diabolik in 1968, Manfred Ron Richthofen in Von Richthofen and Brown in 71, and news anchor Robin Stone in The Love Machine. The later reteamed in Alexander Hay is co-star from the 68 acid comedy Skidoo. His most famous role is that of Sinbad in The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, very underrated performance, which was a worldwide box office hit and won him the first Saturn Award for Best Fantasy Film. Born in Hollywood, he was born to John Law, deputy sheriff, and Phillip Sally, a Broadway actress. At college, he initially studied engineering before transferring to University of Hawaii to study psychology and drama. As a child, he played a page in The Magnificent Yankee. Upon finishing college, he appeared in Garson Kanan's Come On Strong in 62 and worked for 3 years at a repertory theater at the Lincoln Center, where he acted in their productions of Marco's Millions, The Changeling, and Tartuffe. After leaving, he moved to Europe, where he appeared in High Infidelity and 3 Nights of Love. Now, Law was cast by director Norman Jewison in The Russians Are Coming as a sailor, after the director saw him in an Italian movie. A year later, in 67, he played a farmer in Oliver Premier's Hurry Sundown. Later that year, he acted in Death Rides a Horse in 67 with Lee Van Cleef after the Good, Bad, and Ugly releases. The following year, he played the title role of Danger Diabolik, an angel in Barbarella, as well as role of Skidoo and the Sergeant in 68. Although cast in The Gypsy Moths, his part was recast. He turned down roles in Midnight Cowboy and Easy Rider. Now, he had a cameo role in the last movie in 71, which also marked the release of Von Richthofen and Brown, where Law played Manfred von Richthofen. For the role, Law learned how to take off and land an aircraft. Later that year, he starred in The Love Machine, based on Jacqueline Suzanne's novel of the same name. Throughout the early 70s, he had parts in Polvera de Stelle, Stardust, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, Open Season, and The Spiral Staircase. Now, Law continued to find success in Europe, acting in Dr. Justice, A Whisper in the Dark, Your God in My Hell, 76, The Cassandra Crossing, again, very underrated movie, The Target of an Assassin, Eyes Behind a Wall, The Rider on the White Horse, and The Devil's Bed. In the later 70s, he returned to America, where he acted in The Best Place to Be and Ring of Darkness. Now, Law continued to act, taking roles in Tin Man, Night Train to Terror, American Commandos, Moon and Scorpio, Thunder 3, Striker, Una Grande Storia d'Amour, A Great Love Story, Space Mutiny, Blood Delirium, A Case of Honor, and Cold Heat. He also appeared in Alienator in 1990, Shining Blood in 92, El Giorno del Porco, Pig Day, The Mountain of the Lord, Hindsight, My Ghost Dog, Wanted, and Bad Guys. In 2001, he appeared in Roman Coppola's CQ. His final roles included Curse of the 49er in 2002, which he was also associate produced, The Three Faces of Terror in 2004, and Ray of Sunshine in 2006. His last credited role was in 2008's Chinaman's Chance. He married and later divorced actress Shawn Ryan, with whom he had a daughter. Now, unfortunately, on December 13, 2007, his doctors diagnosed Law with pancreatic cancer. He died 5 months later on May 13, 2008, age 70, as he's home in L.A. Now, he also appeared in other key movies, including Tarzan the Ape Man, a very interesting movie, Day of the Pig, and Curse of the 49er, Sheriff Murphy. Now, Philip Law was basically one of the nicest looking and nicest men in Hollywood. I think a lot of people didn't really take him seriously when he first started. But let's talk about a little bit about the release of Van Richthofen and Brown. Now, in some locations, it was called The Red Baron. The 71 war film was directed by Roger Corman and also co-starred Down Stroud as Roy Brown. Although names of real people are used and embedded in basic historical facts, the story by Joyce Hooper Corrington and John William Corrington makes no claim to be historically accurate, and in fact is largely fictional. Now, in this one, Van Richthofen is newly signed to a German air squadron under command of Oswald Bolecki. Across the lines, Roy Brown arrives at a British squadron under the command of Lando Hawker. The two pilots are very different. Richthofen is a gentleman who respects tradition and believes in a gentlemanly approach to war, while Brown is a cynical, cocky, ruthless rebel without a cause who doesn't believe in honor. Now, this movie, again, was a big drive-in hit back in the day, and it's something that basically was what you call the $1 million Corman releases. Roger Corman did most of the direction, and produced by, again, Gene Corman with a low rent cast. Now, talking about his second really big movie, the idea about Death Rides a Horse. The basic plot is this, and the Italian version is called From Man to Man. This came out in '67, directed by Giulio Petroni, written by Luciana Vinconi, and again starring Lee Van Cleef and John Philip Law. Now, this one, Bill, a boy whose father was killed and a mother and sister were gang raped and murdered in front of him by 5 robbers, sets out 15 years later to exact revenge, having used the time to become an expert marksman. Each of the outlaws bears a characteristic which Bill memorized while watching his family be slaughtered and his house set on fire. The first has a tattoo of 4 aces on his chest, the second a scar, the third one a distinctive earring. The fourth man's face is unveiled during the event, and Bill remembers it distinctly. After the house is set on fire, Bill is rescued by a man wearing a skull necklace, whose face he does not see. Hiding under a wagon as the men ride off, Bill finds a spur. Now, it goes from there almost 2 hours. One of the mid-range pistoleros of the region. Now, the Vincenzoni eventually went on to work with director Giulio Petroni after having a falling out with Sergio Leone on the making of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly breakup led to this movie. Now, it was only released 2 years after it was released in Italy and pretty well won the Lost Spaghetti Westerns. And it's not really a Clint Eastwood spaghetti western, but it's not really knockoff either. It's a very strong movie. But John Philip Law, like I said, a very handsome guy, very cerebral. If you see him in the old Password Plus episodes, a very interesting guy. Now, according to various people, Monty Film Bilton called the film to be a display piece for Law and Cleef, noting that Lee Van Cleef was in excellent form. The review declared the film to be less gimmicky than most Italian westerns, and all the better for it. You might see this on TCM every once in a while, or late night. Like I said, it's pretty strong. So that's the story of the great John Philip Law, always on the outside of superstardom, but always giving great performances. If you like what we're doing here, we're a vintage movie podcast. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share.